Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks very much to ACAMP for allowing me to speak a little bit about the programs that Tectera offers. I'll go through this quickly and try to ad-lib a fair bit. I've got, like most people, probably too many slides to actually go through in 15 minutes, but I'll cover the high points and just give you a sense of who Tectera is, what we do, how we do it, how you can engage with us. But much like some of the other funding programs, all the details and nitty-gritty can be found on our website or by contacting us. Tectera is really about economic development through kind of a targeted investment in the geomatics industry. And so in the idea that we can create economic activity and catalyze new business opportunities, we invest in small and medium enterprise operating in the geomatics technology space. The output of that is really measured around economic activity, jobs created. So we're very much an economic development engine, focused again through SMEs and geomatics. Why geomatics? Why SMEs? Well, geomatics is a big part of the economy, larger than most people realize when they actually see it on paper. We have kind of a critical mass of innovation research happening that's driven out of our university programs, small business here in Alberta and across the country. And as you can imagine, geomatics is consumed largely by many of our integrated resource management areas. The reason we're here today around conventional energy is important because it certainly falls into the IRM category, and energy is, I think undoubtedly the largest consumer of geomatics technologies, certainly in Alberta, arguably across the country. And so it's a real sweet spot in terms of growth, a lot of innovative activity on the small business and research area, and the need for the geomatics technologies across our resource sectors to do things like, improve efficiency, safety, environmental monitoring and protection. All these things really kind of come together in geomatics because geomatics is very much a platform technology set. I'll answer the question just before I get, people often ask if you don't know what geomatics is. It's an engineering discipline related to the management, collection, and distribution of geospatial information. So the most common examples you'll find from a technology standpoint are GPS, navigation, GIS systems, remote sensing. There are some more complicated and specific technical areas around geomatics, but again, if you think of anything regarding the kind of collection, management, or distribution of geospatial data, mapping data, it falls within that realm. Just to give you a sense of scale and where our funding comes from, the reason we support Canadian and Alberta SMEs is obviously because of where our funders are and the economic activity that they're looking for as they put money through us. But again, we're very much here to take these taxpayer dollars and catalyze new economic activity through small and medium enterprise. Here's a quick look at our portfolio. I think we're probably up to about 70, 75 companies now that we support across our entire portfolio. Some of the companies presenting today have accessed our different programs all the way from business plan development to full-on development commercialization projects. So we work with a variety of companies across the country, many here in Alberta and in Calgary, working on projects focused on the IRM sector and specifically to energy as well. Our programs, I'll kind of get into the overview. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the detailed slides for each of our programs because, again, you can follow up with us in person for that kind of information. But I'll talk about the general areas of how you can access our programs, how you'd engage with us. The first one is commercialization projects. This is the bulk of what we do in terms of activity and dollars spent. And it's divided into two areas, our commercialization projects. One is commercialization support, so it's not necessarily related to project or technology development, but this is business plan creation, support services for company who need help in the areas of human resources, finance, branding. Sometimes we often find really good geomatics companies that don't have the business skills or expertise to grow their business at the scale they want to, so we help those kind of secondary outside of technology skills for companies to grow. But again, the bulk of our dollars actually go into funding commercialization projects. So 1 to 2 year projects for small and medium companies that want to bring a new technology to market. market. Now, just because you're not an SME working in the geomatics space, don't necessarily tune out for the next 10 minutes. Through our programs, in terms of the applied research programs through the universities and how SMEs can partner with larger organizations, and quite frankly the solutions they put forward through the geomatics space. We have quite a broad reach and network into the geomatics community, the IRM sector, and we also have a really good model and funding mechanism to use our commercialization project funding dollars to work with applied research at the university, industry partners, and sometimes larger corporations or government end users in order to solve problems. And we have pilot projects ongoing in environmental monitoring for the oil sands, avalanche prediction for the Canadian Avalanche Association, and so that there are creative ways to use the programs depending on how the SME wants to get to market and what their business model looks like. Generally speaking, the commercialization projects, again, we invest in companies over a period where they want to develop and bring to market a new technology. We're mostly at this phase looking for companies who have a business plan, understand their go-to-market plan, can actually forecast a revenue. Again, this is how we assess the potential success of the companies we invest in. But we'll cover the full spectrum in there. But we want to get companies who can actually get to market, start generating revenue. Our investment model is quite simple and quite favorable. We don't take any equity or IP investment in the company whatsoever. We don't have any interest structure. All we ask for is a basically 0% free money loan, so that if the company that we invest in becomes commercially successful, they pay back the same amount of money they took from us. But again, it's very much, and the repayment is only based on commercial success of the funded project. So compared to venture capital, angel investors, or even a bank loan, we're a very favorable financing option, but it's a shared risk model that we take with them, and we buy into the success of the project before we invest just as much as the company does. The second area is related to HQP, or highly qualified professional placement. So essentially we have a couple programs based on whether or not a company is in Alberta or across Canada, where we'll contribute up to 50% of the salary cost for a person who wants to be hired into, again, a small and medium geomatics company for the purpose of technology commercialization. And the last way we kind of, again, catalyze these business opportunities are around networking. So we hold our own networking events related to geomatics. We sponsor events. We work with ACAMP at their events, again, to try to put the pieces together. A lot of SMEs can't do this on their own. They need either complementary technologies, sales channels, distributors, and so we try to make those links for people and act as a catalyst to bring together this larger community of end users and producers. So this is where I'm going to skip through all the details about these individual programs, because we don't have time to cover through them all today. Bear with me here, almost. I'm going to stop on the very last one and just make a special mention. We have a program called the Trade Show Attendance Program. I'll mention it today because specifically of the WAVE 2013 conference. We supported WAVE in 2011 and we'll do so again in 2013 by leveraging one of our programs, which is essentially kind of a travel subsidy program, if you want to think of it like that, for again SME geomatics companies to attend relevant events. And so we're doing kind of a special use of this TAP program for WAVE for these companies who want to attend in Banff and need financial support in order to do so. Through the TAP program, we'll essentially cover the registration and hotel costs of attending WAVE. So again, if you're a qualifying company and are interested in going to that event specifically or a different event that you wouldn't otherwise be able to afford to further your commercialization efforts, please engage with us for that. The other thing, I won't call it a secondary thing, but a different way we help companies is by managing and operating a geomatics equipment lab. And so we have about $6 million worth of equipment at our lab here in Calgary that again SMEs can use for the development and testing of new geomatics technologies. If you're developing a smartphone application for lone workers in remote locations, we have a very expensive and very rare GNSS simulator for satellite positioning simulations. I think it's the only one in Canada that does all the 4 worldwide constellations and does that sort of thing. So again, a piece of equipment that would be out of reach for most small companies in terms of getting access to, we have it available. So kind of as a cooperative, the larger community of development professionals that need access to this testing equipment can get access to it. We have GPR units, laser scanning units, a couple unmanned ground vehicles, an unmanned aerial vehicle. So quite a wide range of equipment for people to access and to use, again, in their technology commercialization projects. This is a summary slide of all of our programs. Again, I'll just put it up there so you can see the funding model, which is, again, payback required on our larger commercialization models where a company is generating revenue. Otherwise, some of them work off kind of grant programs, essentially. But again, no IP or equity stake. We're a very favorable funding mechanism for a geomatics company compared to what their other financing models will be. Just to give you a sense again of progress in terms of what we do and the kind of network that we can plug you into. Out of the money we have to spend, we've committed upwards of 18 million of it. So that's an active development projects committed to companies that are out there kind of today currently building and developing new technologies, spending money to get them to market. We're up over the $300 million mark now, actually, in terms of projected revenue from the companies that we've invested in. Over 250 HQPs that are now working in the geomatics field for the companies that we support because of our investments. And I won't go through the rest of the numbers, but as you can see, the innovation, the patent filing, the actual revenue generation and business creation that's happening because of our investment has created quite a community of geomatics solutions and products that could be available either as a consumer or for you to work with from a technology combination standpoint. As an organization, we kind of pride ourselves on being responsive and work in the same sort of timeline and environments as SMEs. So we work quickly, we make decisions quickly, our funding programs turn quickly, and so we try to be as flexible and responsive as we can in terms of how we use our funds to work with SMEs. With that, I'll end. Here's how you can get a hold of us. Again, visit our website, come grab my business card, find us and get more details on the programs in terms of what you'd like to learn about us. And again, if you think you qualify, if you have an idea and want to engage with us, please let us know and we'd be happy to follow up that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew.